Well, now that we've met the LAMP stack, it's time to turn our focus to the mean stack, something we're going to talk about, of course, for the rest of this presentation. Now, you've already met them briefly at the beginning of this presentation. You learned that the mean stack is actually made up of MongoDB, Express.js, AngularJS, and Node.js. So since I spent time talking about the LAMP stack, in fact, this must be just kind of a hipster upgrade to the LAMP stack, right? It must be a one-for-one swap of these technologies, but kind of newer, sexier, more exciting technologies. Well, part of that is true. But you don't want to be fooled into think this is a simple upgrade of technologies. In fact, the mean stack is similar in so much that it's based on open source technology, highly cohesive, loosely coupled pieces, and it does have kind of a cool nickname as well. But this is not a one-for-one letter swap. As a matter of fact, you should be wary about thinking of it that way. This is an actual photo from the highways of Colorado. As you're moving down, as you're coming down the highway from the ski resorts, there are signs, more than one, that say, "Truckers, don't be fooled." I love that. Truckers, don't be fooled. You're not down yet. There's plenty of mountain left. And this always reminds me of the time when I wanted to try snowboarding for the first time. I'd been skiing since I was a kid. I said, I've been skiing every year. How hard could snowboarding be? They both involve strapping planks to your feet and sliding down cold, icy snow. Anyone who has had the same fallacy that I explained to you right there knows that there were not enough R's in horrible to describe my snowboarding experience. And it's not the fault of the snowboard. It was my misconception. I was fooled into thinking that my existing skills and my existing tools would translate nicely. Moving from a two-planker to a one-planker, moving from a skier to a snowboarder, how hard could it be? In fact, what I didn't recognize was there are important, significant differences that were more important than the superficial similarities between skiing and snowboarding. So if we look at the LAMP stack and look at the mean stack, we'll find that the letters don't even line up with each other. I mean, MongoDB is no more an analog for Linux than MySQL is for AngularJS. So if we reorder the letters a little bit, I'd like to introduce you to the NEMA stack. I told you the jokes don't get any better than this. Yeah, but if we go with the NEMA stack, what we'll find is at least we are lining up these technologies in the way that they are presented in the LAMP stack. What we'll find is that Node.js is in fact the platform that we're going to be dealing with. That Express.js is the web server. We're going to find that MongoDB, of course, is our persistence layer, and Angular is our user interface. So this is our order of operations. Now, this is how we're going to explore the mean stack, concept by concept, tier by tier, moving forward. So let's make one thing clear. We are still dealing with a bucket of bolts. But just because we have these individual pieces floating around doesn't mean that's what you should be interacting with. You want to find a good framework that will help bring this bucket of bolts together and give it a little bit more form, help you out with convenience build scripts and testing and deployment. Meanjs.org is my mean stack of choice. There are many other ones out there. But what meanjs.org does is brings these four pieces together, but it also gives me build scripts. It also gives me scaffolding. It gives me testing and deployment support and all manner of other things. It's kind of funny, actually. The person who put together meanjs.org, Amos Haviv, has also written a very good book about the mean stack. But the irony is, in his book, he doesn't talk about any of the connective tissue. This is a book about the same bucket of bolts we've been talking about all this time. I know someone who has been writing extensively about the scaffolding and the helper scripts and good things like that, available for free in a browser near you. Absolutely. But what we find now is our mental model has not only the four major planets in the solar system, but now we have a boundary, something that is kind of binding all of these pieces together. Because what meanjs.org does for us is it gives us this connective tissue. It gives us the ability to cross-connect these various pieces of the stack. So when we have forms in AngularJS, what Mean.js gives you is a set of RESTful endpoints that connects it up to Express. It gives you the connective tissue you need to connect Express up to MongoDB to get the information back. So what Mean.js is a way to pull these pieces together, pull these disparate pieces together and make them feel like a more unified whole. So in order to get started, I would type in yo Mean.js. This is a Yeoman generator that will scaffold out a basic application. And then from there I can type in grunt and it'll spin up that application. In well under a minute, I have a fully functioning MeanStack application in place. And many times I'll leave that app up and running in the background. Because then I'll use the scaffolding to go say, yo, Mean.js, give me a CRUD module for my articles. Give me a CRUD module for my books and my authors and my publishers. So you can see that what Mean.js gives us is a way to very quickly move into doing Mean development without having to do the boring, mundane, boilerplate, repetitive pieces of hand crafting these individual elements to work together. So you can see now our solar system includes lots of satellites. We still have the 4 main planets in the middle, but then what Mean.js brings us is the Yeoman generator, the grunt build scripts, Bower to allow us to manage client-side dependencies. It gives us a very robust testing infrastructure. Karma.js is our test runner. It allows us to run our tests across browsers, including mobile phones and tablets and smart TVs. It uses Mocha.js to do server-side testing. It uses Jasmine to do client-side testing. Since we're in the 21st century, we know that having mobile support is not optional. So Twitter Bootstrap is included out of the box, and it makes your website reactive without you having to do a thing. Responsive web design is what's most important here, making sure that you don't have to think real hard about making sure your website looks just as good on smartphones as it does on tablets and smart TVs. We have helper libraries like Passport to help you with authentication and authorization. We have Mongoose that we'll talk about later on that provides yet even more connective tissue between Express and MongoDB. But what we begin seeing is this is not even an inclusive list. We have lots of different helpers coming along for the ride to make your Mean.js development experience as easy and as replicatable as possible. So when we're looking at good frameworks now, you'll oftentimes hear people say that, oh, that web framework, it's moving the goalposts. In fact, meanjs.org is not moving the goalposts, it's moving the starting line. Because our end result is still shippable software. But when you have a good framework that deals with the mundane boilerplate aspects of things like build scripts and testing and deployment, what you're able to focus on is solving real business solutions, not building your own framework.